Hi there everyone. Today I'm reviewing Belisarius Cawl, the Great Work. So Belisarius Cawl is the main symbol of progress in the Warhammer 40k universe. After many years of stagnation, and the Imperium grasping for some semblance of stability, it transpires that Belisarius Cawl was long working away in the background on a gambit to emulate the Emperor's achievement in creating superhuman warriors to defend and save humanity. A couple of years have passed since this book's release, and it tries to fill out some of the background of Cawl as one of the principal main characters of the Warhammer 40k universe moving forward. Personally, I'm glad that the background was moved on. We'd had quite a while where the background was pretty much the same stories and same battles. And although I don't love everything about how the progression has occurred, we're here now, so this is what we're working with. So in this book, Cawl travels to the planet of Sotha, I think it's pronounced, the ravaged homeworld of the Scythes of the Emperor, a Space Marine chapter almost completely wiped out by the Tyranids, who came to the planet through a gene stealer infestation of the Pharos device. The Scythes of the Emperor have a tragic past, which is explored in this book. And this tragic dynamic works really well with the other characters in the book, as the Scythes seem to be hiding something but won't really let on what's going on. What could it be? It does take a while to find out in this one, but it does make for an interesting plot point, so I won't spoil it. One highly frustrating aspect I've noticed in quite a few Warhammer 40k books is that there seems to be about 100 to 200 pages of tedium before things start getting good. It's almost as if the author hasn't planned that much to happen, except for exposition in the first half of the book, because they usually clock in at around 400 pages. And so until events actually sort of start ramping up and the plot develops, there's not really much to talk about. Sure, some tension and sort of preamble needs to be there, and characters introduced, of course, but I don't really know why the plot and action can't develop somewhat in the first half of the book. Why there seems to be this point in a lot of them where there's just exposition for 200 pages. Maybe it's that the author has fun writing what they kind of want to write, and then they kind of realise halfway through, okay, I need to begin wrapping this up. And this book is an example of that. The first 100 to 200 pages kind of felt a bit tedious to me, and they involve some seemingly frivolous and meaningless activities. I think some people online did enjoy some of the conversations or like some of the things Cawl talks about. I just wasn't seeing it myself. But fortunately, this is in stark contrast to the latter portion of the book. When the great work finally reaches its crescendo, it does get quite riveting. When Cawl discovers what's laid trapped on the Pharos device, and then reveals his plan to kind of manipulate it and obtain the knowledge and secrets of the Pharos and how he's going to do it, or even the sort of plot thread that is the strange visions of the mountain sort of being supplanted in everyone's minds. That was quite a cool touch, I thought. So the problem with Cawl himself as a character is that he's supposed to be arrogant and irritating. Some people don't really mind this, and it's clearly emphasised and played upon. In fact, it's kind of explicitly stated in a lot of 40k lore. But he kind of also has this omniscience to get out of difficult situations, and so it can come across a bit formulaic. He is pretty unique, though, as a personality, and sometimes he does feel like a breath of fresh air. I'm not really on the same page as commentators who would say they like Cawl. I'm not really sure that that's the kind of intention with him as a character. Maybe I need to take the view of Friedish, his erstwhile sidekick in the book, who notes that despite all his faults, Cawl is his friend. Like Friedish, Cawl is the kind of, or one of the protagonists for the so-called good guys in the 40k universe. We know there's not really any good guys, arguably. He's our good guy. Cawl is trying to save humanity, destroy the Chaos Rift, and restore the Imperium to its former glory. It's just tough to get behind him sometimes. The other characters are interesting enough. Felix, Tetrarch of Ultramar, has to place his faith in Cawl, whilst being constantly irritated by him, but does a pretty good job of it. Alpha Primus, Cawl's prototype creation of a Primaris Space Marine, reveals the plans he has to endure due to his creation, which provided a kind of interesting dynamic with this character. Thracian, the chapter master of the Scythes of the Emperor, endures torment at what the Tyranids have done, and sees the potential hope and possibility that Cawl provides, where he might actually be able to recreate the Scythes' homeworld, making for another interesting angle. The book's action isn't really delved into enough for my liking. The action sequences are quite sporadic and brief, but they are helped by the tension towards the end of the book, as things ramp up, and Cawl's plot is revealed. The action here feels more punchy and impactful as a result, whereas in the first half of the book, when things seem to really plod along for the most part, it just felt like action or more events were really needed there. But this book is great for 40k revelations. There's heavy spoilers now. I've kind of given some spoilers already, I suppose, but they seem quite light ones. But if you want to avoid them, skip to the end score now, because I'm going to spoil. So there's justification for why Cawl is so brilliant. He's a combination of three minds: Sedaine, Hester Aspertia, and Cawl himself. He was also assisted by Guilliman by being given a device, the Sang Primus Portum, containing all the knowledge of how the Primarchs were made. Cawl wants to know the secrets of the Pharos, but he was also prepared for what he was going to face there. The Catan shards of power kind of power the Pharos device, and in particular there's an especially complete shard, that of Zahulash the Potentate. That's what a wicked name. As a Necron fan, this book is well worth reading if, like me, you're interested in the Catan, for all the interactions and discussion from a Catan perspective, of Zahulash, what he thinks of the Emperor, the Necrons, even Chaos. For me, this was probably the strongest section of the book. It explores aspects of the 40k background that are new, it had tension, it had action ramping up, and the plot really kind of unravelled in a really nice way. It kind of helped undo a lot of the tedium in the first half of the book, and it was well worth pushing through to the end. So in terms of final score, this one is a tricky one to review. It starts off too slow. It doesn't delve into some of the antagonists that much, such as the Necrons or the Gene Stealer cult, enough for my liking. It sometimes lacks action, and has way too much exposition at the start. But towards the end, we learn so much about the Pharos, the Scythes, Cawl and his plans, Zahulash, the Catan, and the other Catan helping power the Pharos, that it becomes really tense and exciting at the end. It makes for a good read if you persist then. But I think many will probably just read the spoilers and unfortunately not bother, which perhaps is actually a bit of a shame. So I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10. It is kind of let down by the first half of the book, I felt, but the end kind of really got quite good, I thought. So it was a pretty decent book. It's pretty important to the 40k universe, so maybe one to just kind of read if there's not much on your reading list. But I'm reviewing many more 40k books, so like and subscribe for that, and thanks for watching.